Now, on a good day, I really can't stand Haas at all. I think they're a fine team. I really didn't like what Gene Haas was trying to do with how he was running his team in the sport. But on a good day, I'm not a big fan of Haas. On a bad day, I downright hate Haas. And I think their most recent moves, although extremely controversial, and I'm of course not the only one to cover it, I have to say, I cannot be the only one who's this pissed about an American team running a Russian flag as their livery. Now, I'm sorry, right? We're gonna get to the other teams, we're gonna get to the other F1 cars, because there are a ton more to talk about. Better, more important cars to talk about. But Haas, how in God's name have you managed to get a Russian flag legalized on the side of your car when your driver, who is also Russian, is not allowed to race under the Russian flag? Right? The amount of loopholes that they've jumped through to get that thing on the car, the amount of loopholes they've jumped through to get that livery ruled fine is extreme. I mean, it's infuriating. It's not just because obviously the history of America in Russia, I mean, I'm American, you know that already, but it's also the fact that, it's Haas essentially just becoming the pay team, right? You've got pay drivers and you've got pay teams. This team is really only in the sport now thanks to their one pay driver and one good driver who's their only hope of getting any points this year. And, when Haas came into the sport, I liked them. I thought it was a cool idea running the team as cheaply as you possibly could, and they did it well. They didn't really do anything wrong at the time, and, 2018 was a prime time for a Haas fan because, what were they, 5th place, and they were close to beating Renault, and Renault was a full-funded factory effort. So, and then obviously after that, the Rich Energy debacle has sent them down the field, but overall, Haas is not a terrible team, and even if they're portrayed to be a bad team, they're not that bad. But this year, they've really messed it up, and I'll show some pictures now, just you to see it. And if you didn't already notice it, yeah, it is Russian flags all over the car. Obviously, not exactly Russian flags, because that would be illegal, but, it is how it is, and it's pretty infuriating to see that it's an American team running a Russian flag. It'd be like, there's no really other comparison that you could do. Maybe a British team running a Russian flag, that would also be not so great. But, I think every F1 fan agrees that they don't like it, and yeah. Now, I think I have to say before I go to Alpine, I'm a little bit worried about Ferrari. You see, they were supposed to launch their car a little while ago. I think it was in February that they were supposed to launch their car, the 26th or something. But they didn't actually end up launching it. Now, I think there's a variety of reasons why that could have happened. Maybe the car wasn't ready yet. Or maybe they were not confident about showing everybody their floor design. But no matter what, when you don't launch a car, when you say you're going to launch a car, it's always a bad sign. I think the last time that something like that happened was maybe Braun GP, but even then they were close to on schedule with their car. That was not a poorly run team, even though Honda had just pulled out of F1. So I am a little bit worried about Ferrari. I hope they launch their car soon and stop anybody else worrying about it, because the longer the speculation goes for, the worse it is for them, and they know that. They really do know that. Now let's get on to Alpine and Aston Martin, the two A teams. I think they're really going to be fighting it out this year. And I know that's going to be a controversial opinion, but both of their cars look good, both of the floors look similar, although Aston Martin has revealed more of a racing style floor that they'll be racing, whereas Alpine has just released the livery, and I don't even think they put it on the real 2021 F1 car, which is a shame because we all wanted to see exactly what it looked like. But, they're a secretive team, and, the management of Renault and Alpine is how it is, so there was never going to be a guarantee that we would see it in racing format. But nonetheless, I think the cars both look quite good. I think Renault has probably taken a step up with the Alpine engines, and that's always very exciting for them because, I think 2019, their best tracks were engine tracks. So if they keep up the air development and the engine development is good, then, they could be in for a strong position this year. Obviously, as a McLaren and Williams fan, I want those two guys to really battle it out. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen this year, but in future years it could happen. And I think I would hope that it's smoother sailings this year for McLaren than having to battle with, Alpine and Aston Martin. But it's a possibility, and they both look strong this year, so I think whatever we're going to call the midfield battle, or the battle for third place maybe, is going to be a great battle. I cannot wait to watch it this year, and I think the car developments are going to be interesting, because, Williams has already promised one in-season development. I've heard that McLaren's going to do an in-season development. I'm pretty sure Alpine's going to do an in-season development, and we have no news from Aston Martin. But talking about Aston Martin, their livery is an interesting one. I think the general idea, the colors, everything, it's a pretty cool livery. But on the other hand, that pink, it's not something you can really enjoy. I mean, originally it was supposed to be AMR lime green, and for those who don't know, you can look up that car, Aston Martin Racing Lime Green. But that had to get changed very late, and that was because of a sponsorship deal struck up with BWT again. And the fact that they were striking up sponsor deals this late, apparently 4 days before the livery launched, they had set a new deal with, BWT. I think that has to be the latest somebody's ever gotten a new sponsor on the car for a livery. Maybe it isn't, but I think it has to be close to it. And I think the pink sort of ruins the aesthetic. It's not a terrible car, but if it had the lime green, it would have been incredible. And overall, very strong liveries from both of those teams. I was talking to some people, a couple people, and they said they didn't like the Alpine livery. They said it looks like a tube of toothpaste. And, maybe it does, but I think on the other hand, there are certainly worse liveries, and the fact that they've managed to stay out of, the bottom livery-wise is quite good. Now, I am going to do a ranked list of F1 liveries, and, I think I'd put the Aston Martin and the Alpine somewhere in the middle. I'm not 100% positive about what that's going to look like yet, what the video will be, what the format is, but I think overall good liveries. The Mercedes livery, as I mentioned, is tragic. I mean, look at it. They've deleted all the little stars, which I thought was nice. I think there was almost 1,000 stars on that, which was to represent every single person working at Mercedes, with then the red star being for Niki Lauda. And it was very nice symbolism. What have they done now? They've essentially just tossed AMG logos all over the car, and they've ruined it, in my opinion. Others would say, oh, no, it's better this year, but I don't think it is, Obviously, I'm entitled to my opinion, and you are, of course, entitled to your opinion. But, I mean, it's not something, you sit down and say, yes, that is clearly the best livery this year. And although, yeah, it's different, I think I would have preferred something that was the same. It looks like it has less sponsors. I mean, I can rant on and on about the Mercedes livery for a long time, but, I really, really don't like it. And I don't think there's much else to say, really, about last week's F1 car launches. Pretty solid cars that were launched. I mean, obviously, McLaren being the first one that was bold from them, and I was surprised they didn't, push theirs back a little bit. But overall, I think last week was probably the bulk of the car launches. Well, it was the bulk of the car launches. And we only have one more to see. It's Ferrari. Stay tuned for that. That's probably going to get its own video, because, why not? And if it does end up getting its own video, you're going to find out all about why they delayed it. And if I can't tell you that, then, it's really secretive. I mean, generally things like that get leaked, but if it doesn't get leaked, we've got stuff to talk about and we've got stuff to speculate about. But anyways, if you did enjoy today's video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing. And if you didn't like today's video, well, why didn't you like today's video? Explain it in the comments, and we can try to make changes. We here at Technically F1 like making changes when they're for a good reason, and if it's a good reason, we'll consider changing it. Anyways, thank you, goodbye.